The Konbaung Dynasty was the last dynasty that ruled Burma, from 1752 to 1885. It created the second largest empire in Burmese history and continued the administrative reforms begun by the Konbaung Dynasty, laying the foundations of the modern state of Burma. The reforms, however, proved insufficient to stem the advance of the British, who defeated the Burmese in all three Anglo-Burmese wars over a six-decade span and ended the millennium-old Burmese monarchy in 1885. An expansionist dynasty, the Konbaung kings waged campaigns against Manipur, Arakan, Assam, the Hmong Kingdom of Pegu and the Siamese Kingdom of Ayutthaya, thus establishing the Third Burmese Empire. Subject to later wars and treaties with the British, the modern state of Burma can trace its current borders to these events. Throughout Konbaung Dynasty, the capital was relocated several times for religious, political, and strategic reasons. History. Establishment. The dynasty was founded by a village chief, who later became known as Alompra, in 1752 to challenge the restored Hanthawaddy kingdom which had just toppled the Konbaung dynasty. By 1759, Alompra's forces had reunited all of Burma, and driven out the French and the British who had provided arms to Hanthawaddy. Alompra's second son, Attribution, came to the throne after a short reign by his elder brother, Nongdorgi. He continued his father's expansionist policy and finally took Ayutthaya in 1767, after 7 years of fighting. Reforms. Realizing the need to modernize, the Konbaung rulers tried to enact various reforms with limited success. King Mindon with his able brother Crown Prince Konbaung established state-owned factories to produce modern weaponry and goods. In the end, these factories proved more costly than effective in staving off foreign invasion and conquest. Mindon also tried to reduce the tax burden by lowering the heavy income tax and created a property tax, as well as duties on foreign exports. Ironically, these policies had the reverse effect of increasing the tax burden, as the local elites used the opportunity to enact new taxes without lowering the old ones. They were able to do so as control from the center was weak. In addition, the duties on foreign exports stifled the burgeoning trade and commerce. Konbaung kings extended administrative reforms begun in the restored Konbaung dynasty period, and achieved unprecedented levels of internal control and external expansion. They tightened control in the lowlands and reduced the hereditary privileges of Shan chiefs. They also instituted commercial reforms that increased government income and rendered it more predictable. Money economy continued to gain ground. In 1857, the Crown inaugurated a full-fledged system of cash taxes and salaries, assisted by the country's first standardized silver coinage. Nonetheless, the extent and pace of reforms were uneven and ultimately proved insufficient to stem the advance of British colonialism. Relations with Siam. In 1760, Burma began a series of wars with Siam that would last well into the middle of the 19th century. By 1770, Alompra's heirs had temporarily defeated Siam, subdued much of Laos and defeated 4 invasions by King China, with the Burmese preoccupied for another 2 decades by another impending invasion by the Chinese. The Siamese recovered their territories by 1770, and went on to capture Lan Na by 1776. Burma and Siam went to war until 1855, but after decades of war, the two countries exchanged Tenasserim and Lan Na. Relations with China in the defense of its realm. The dynasty fought 4 wars successfully against the Qing dynasty of China, which saw the threat of the expansion of Burmese power in the east. In 1770, despite his victory over the Chinese armies, King Attribution sued for peace with China and concluded a treaty to maintain bilateral trade with the Middle Kingdom, which was very important for the dynasty at that time. The Qing dynasty then opened up its markets and restored trading with Burma in 1788 after reconciliation. Thenceforth peaceful and friendly relations prevailed between China and Burma for a long time. Relations with the British and downfall faced with a powerful China and a resurgent Siam in the east. Bodorpaya acquired western kingdoms of Arakan, Manipur and Assam, leading to a long ill-defined border with British India. Europeans began to set up trading posts in the Irrawaddy Delta region during this period. Konbaung tried to maintain its independence by balancing between the French and the British. In the end it failed. The British severed diplomatic relations in 1811, and the dynasty fought and lost 3 wars against the British Empire, culminating in total annexation of Burma by the British. The British decisively defeated the Burmese in the First Anglo-Burmese War. Burma was forced to cede Arakan, Manipur, Assam and Tenasserim, and pay a large indemnity of £1 million. In 1837, King Bagayador's brother, Tharawadi, seized the throne, put Bagayador under house arrest, and executed the chief Queen Minu and her brother. Tharawadi made no attempt to improve relations with Britain. His son Pagan, who became king in 1846, executed thousands, some sources say as many as 6,000 of his wealthier and more influential subjects on trumped-up charges. During his reign, relations with the British became increasingly strained. In 1852, the Second Anglo-Burmese War broke out. Pagan was succeeded by his younger brother, the progressive Mindon. Mindon attempted to bring Burma into greater contact with the outside world, and hosted the Fifth Great Buddhist Synod in 1872 at Mandalay, gaining the respect of the British and the admiration of his own people. Mindon avoided annexation in 1875 by ceding the Karenni states. He died before he could name a successor, and Tibar, a lesser prince, was maneuvered onto the throne by Shanbu Machine, one of Mindon's queens, together with her daughter, Supayalat. The new king Tibar proceeded, under Supayalat's direction, to massacre all likely contenders to the throne. This massacre was conducted by the Queen. The dynasty came to an end in 1885 with the forced abdication and exile of the king and the royal family to India. The British, alarmed by the consolidation of French Indochina, annexed the remainder of the country in the Third Anglo-Burmese War in 1885. The annexation was announced in the British Parliament as a New Year gift to Queen Victoria on the 1st of January 1886. Although the dynasty had conquered vast tracts of territory, its direct power was limited to its capital and the fertile plains of the Irrawaddy Valley. The Konbaung rulers enacted harsh levies and had a difficult time fighting internal rebellions. At various times, the Shan states paid tribute to the Konbaung dynasty, but unlike the Mon lands, were never directly controlled by the Burmese.